Thank you very much, Modi. That was a very kind introduction, just as it was written for you to deliver. I want to start by thanking the two sponsors of this great activity today, the Orange County Business Journal. Richard, thank you for your leadership of it, and to Laura and Mark and Amy. So Amy Sifrido, where's Amy? I've been trying to say her name all day. I want to thank you all for your amazing work in convening and encouraging this kind of corporate activity in this community. Your partner, the 1OC, has been an affiliate of Points of Light for many, many years. My old friend Dan McQuaid we bumped into each other at affiliate meetings at our national conference, and he's asked me over the years if I could come and do something in Orange County, and I'm so glad that he asked for Maria and myself to come and join you all today. So thank you, Dan, for your amazing leadership. I also want to congratulate the 1OC leadership, Tim and Laval Brewer, and all of you who have been so active and vital in putting this award and recognition ceremony together. Richard mentioned that my brother George was in town recently, and this isn't in my script, but I thought I'd just level set the playing field here about my brother George. I was very impressed, by the way, with his commitment to service. He was a great governor, and especially in these days, he did a very honorable job serving as President of the United States. I think I'm very proud of his service to our country. I will say, though, that when he was a younger man, he was a little more rambunctious. A lot of people say, what's it like having a father and a brother be president? Well, my father's always been my hero, and so when he became president, it wasn't really a surprise. He was kind of a fulfillment of an expectation. But when George became president, I said, are you kidding? My brother George is president? When he was 16 years old, I was 8. My brother Marvin was 6. And so we didn't have too much in common. He was at Andover. When he came home from Andover, my brother Marvin and I would fight to get his attention. So one day George agreed, and he sat down at the end of a long hallway in our bedroom. He had a bedroom with a bed on one end of the hall. He pulled out a BB gun. My brother Marvin and I were in PJs about to go to bed. And he said, look, we'll play a game. I'm going to count to 10. And you guys run down the hall. And I went first, being the older of the younger brothers. And I started running, and George said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, boom! And he shot me right in my glutamus maximus, a.k.a. my ass. And I was wondering if Saddam Hussein had known that my brother George shot his own brother in the ass. He might have had a slightly different result. Anyway, my brother... speaking of family, this has been a big year of transition for the Bush family. I've got a little bit of a genetic flaw because I get emotional thinking about my kids and family, but last year we celebrated 2 amazing lives that were lost. Maria and I live across the street from my parents, and so we spent a lot of time with them as they slipped away. And to be part of a family that was able to witness an incredible celebration of Dad's passing in November of last year was just an incredible experience. So we went from Houston to Washington, back to Houston to College Station, and all of the ceremonies, all of the commentary was just uplifting for us as a family, and I think also for the nation. And what was interesting to me was that, my father had, I thought, a heroic 4 years as president. The world changed under his watch, and some of the commentary spoke to his effectiveness as a leader. Some of it was about his biography and how incredible his long life of service was. But most of the commentary touched on the simple fact that he was a kind and loving and good human being. Most of the commentary focused on the small things and the big things. My father did a gazillion things to lift others in different ways. He wrote thousands of notes to people, friends in need. He shaved his head when a little kid, a Secret Service kid, had leukemia, lost his hair. Shaved his head in support of this cute little kid. So my father did everything in his life leaning in with love, with the intent to lift others. And it was that spirit that caused my dad, I believe, to start Points of Light, calling on all of us to find the light that shines brightly in us to lift a hand and to help others. My father observed that for every problem in America, there is a solution playing out somewhere. There are nonprofit organizations, community organizations that are doing great things. He called those organizations and the millions of volunteers 1,000 points of light in a broad and peaceful sky. Inspirational image. And he knew that people who volunteered their time and resources helped increase vital services that are being provided, but he also understood that it helped the volunteer. And so when my dad first uttered the words Points of Light over 30 years ago, there were approximately 32 million people volunteering in America. Today, there are over 64 million Americans volunteering. They're volunteering with more time, with more intentionality, with more impact. There is a movement in America, and Points of Light, I'm proud to say, is kind of at the catalyzing part of this movement. We won't rest until 100 million Americans are volunteering. We won't rest until every faith organization, every university, every educational institution, every family, every corporation embraces service as part of the core culture of its identity. And we won't rest until Americans take back our democratic right to voluntarily lift and help others. Our democracy, frankly, is under attack, and we've had great discussions up here about, some of the challenges that we face from a business perspective, but we can't wait for government to solve our problems. Everyone in this room already knows this, but every human has the capacity to do good for others and to lift America, to help, break the intergenerational cycle of poverty, to help our environment, to help in ways that will make our communities better and lift individuals to realize their fullest potential. I've been given some briefing notes. I should point out Jenny Lawson, who's here from Points of Light, is one of our great leaders at Points of Light. She's worked closely with Tim and the team and with the Business Journal here to set up and establish these awards. So Jenny, thank you for your great service to Points of Light. Points of Light has administered a national survey, a national award program, the Civic 50. In it, we distribute surveys to, the top 500 plus companies in the United States. We have them measure and respond, and I think the same is true here, to 5 categories of activity. We call them the 5 I's. Investment. How extensively and strategically companies apply its resources to community engagement, including employee time and skills, and cash, including in-kind giving. Integration, how a company's community engagement program supports business interests and integrates into business functions. Institutionalization, how a company supports community engagement through its institutional policies, systems, and incentives. For example, when the employees work, do they get paid time off to volunteer? Having active CEO and C-suite support for the community outreach type programs. And finally, impact, how a company measures the social and business impact of its community engagement program. And I understand that all of the companies that are being recognized today are qualified under these 4 categories to continue to do great work. And what I love is that this guidepost, if you will, this checklist is encouraging more and more community involvement in our solving community problems. I'd like to share just a quick personal note on how a single corporation has been helpful. I was introduced as chairman. My wife and I formed the Barbara Bush Houston Literacy Foundation to honor my mother's legacy. My mom believed, and I believe, we've drunk the Barbara Bush Kool-Aid, that if you can't read at an age-appropriate level, you can't possibly realize your fullest God-given potential. If you can't read at a third grade level, then how in the world are you going to go to fourth grade or fifth grade and be successful in life? You can't read as an adult. You're going to find life as a big struggle. So my mother believed a more literate America would solve many of our nation's problems. And the reason I bring up literacy is just to bring up the case of a corporation, in this case, Deloitte Consulting. Deloitte Consulting came into our foundation 5 years ago when we founded the organization. They've devoted a team of experts that helped us analyze the Houston literacy landscape, reviewed 80 research papers. With our extraordinary CEO of the organization, Dr. Julie Baker Fink, Deloitte helped convene 90 stakeholders to develop a blueprint for community action. We identified there's a crisis in Houston at every age group. We've identified goals and tasks that can be accomplished to achieve those goals. One of them is to raise an army of volunteers that can go in and be deployed in a way that is strategic to help teachers lift reading levels for students approaching third grade. And so Deloitte has given over 5,000 skills-based volunteer hours to our cause. They helped us create a volunteer management portal. In the past, I guess it's been up maybe 3.5 or 4 years now. There are 9,000 volunteers. There are over 100 institutions, including schools, libraries, and nonprofits that work in the literacy field that sign up volunteer opportunities, and 9,000 volunteers have gone through our portal to contribute thousands of hours of service to the community. So Deloitte fits all four eyes. They've met the commitment, and I say that I bring them up because it's been an extraordinary pleasure to work with a company that has such a deep commitment to helping the community where their employees work, and also to help the employees become active in that work. It is just such an honor for Maria and I. We, by the way, have a couple of special interests now in California. We bought a home in La Jolla, which we're learning a little bit about La Jolla and California real estate because we're trying to renovate this house. Anyway, I don't want to bitch and moan, but it's taken a long time to get permits to get this thing done. And we bought it in November or December of last year. We're still hoping to move in maybe in June. They're actually doing construction now, but it's a beautiful little house in La Jolla, so you can come visit us someday. We have 3 kids in L.A., all 3 of which are still kind of on the family nickel, if you will. They're aspiring to get into the film industry. We had a graduate from USC Film School, and she married a guy that's also a struggling, Hollywood, whatever, And anyway, so we're lucky to be out here in California, where I feel like a lot of money's coming in and nothing's coming out. But anyway, so it's an honor for us to be here, and it's especially an honor to be here to applaud the Orange County Civic 50. For all of those that are being recognized and represented here today, these are companies that have risen above the others in implementing programs that have made this community a better place and that have lifted individuals to realize their fuller potential, and in so doing have made their companies more attractive, more successful, more amazing. At Points of Light, we believe that we are at the dawn of a new era, the civic century. We believe that when the future generations look back at this time, they will see it as an era of sustained, meaningful civic engagement, fueled by a global community ready and willing to do good, and fueled by corporations who see the connection between doing well and doing good. So congratulations. We are delighted to be here to celebrate you and to thank each of you for leading us into the new era of civic engagement. Thank you.